Hello.
It's got to be like, you got to really thunder into this. It's got to be like, hello! Anyway, it is stat time of the month. Yes, it is. Your favorite time of the season, or the month.
Yeah, I love stat time.
Anyway, sometimes it's just, I don't know. I don't hit the right chord.
No. Okay. We'll keep moving on.
Keep moving on.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the stats for Monmouth and Ocean counties in New Jersey. And to kind of give you like a summary of, is there any surprises? Yes. Is it what we expected? Well, I don't know if it's what you expected. It's definitely not what I expected, which was basically, did the market really come down any from 8% interest rates? And remarkably, we'll give you that number in a second. So if you keep watching, obviously we're going to get to that number.
Yes.
Because we do have some interesting numbers, to say the least. It's interesting, guys. This market makes no sense, but I can't make sense of this.
No.
You know, it's not something I can make sense of. Easy. I think there was a report on, like, I think it was Fox that had a report that says there is nothing usual about the unusualness of real estate in the market. It's just true. It's a strange time economically to understand what's happening with housing and what's going on in housing prices. Why are we stuck here? And why doesn't it make sense? But we're going to try to make sense of that today, because I think there's definitely some interesting things in these numbers that you should pay attention to.
Yes.
Right? I mean, did you see anything blaring in this report?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Knock me over, Keri. Let me have it.
Okay. I'm going to start off with the average days on market.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, the average days on market were at 39 days. Now they're at 38 days.
A whole 38.
A whole 38.
A whole 38 from 39.
Yes. So that decreased by 2.56%.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think, I mean, so basically, it decreased by a day. So basically, I don't think there's anything of any consequence there. The thing that I think days on the market represents is that the market is really tight, and things that are priced well are going to sell. I do think, though, at this point, that for New Jersey, that it's an interesting kind of dynamic setup with the upper parts of the state versus the southern part of the state. So, and one of the things that I spent some time doing besides the report is like, where do we see like some things changing with like home prices, price drops, things like that would kind of be leading indicators into where the Jersey market's heading. But the southern part of the state is definitely not doing as well as the central and northern parts of the state, for varying factors. One is that obviously economics of scale, being closer to New York City, is obviously a big benefit to buoying prices if there were to be any fall. There are some places in New Jersey that are kind of like maybe a little bit rockier than others, and that's when you start crossing maybe south of Freehold. Things may not be as robust there, but parts of the state, still, when you talk about parts of Monmouth County being over, even though in this report it's not at 99%, it's at 99% of list. They've exceeded 100% of list, and I think still parts of the state, specifically on the northern tier of Monmouth County, you're getting, you still have it's still extremely hot market. It's just low inventory. I don't think, and based on this report, things kind of popped up again. And I think we were down last month, and we kind of recovered from that downward trend, which is also indicative of rates because it's so rate sensitive. Prices did dip last month's report, which was for December. This is for January, and we have some interesting news there. Things have resurfaced, reemerged, which is prices again. Prices are up.
Yeah, they
Right.
are up.
It's time for the glasses. I've gone long enough without them. Hate wearing these things. I'm scheduled for new glasses this week, though. Thank God.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
I
that's nice.
I definitely need a good set of. What I was told is these square glasses. I don't know if anybody's out there. If it's true, into the
They're
fashion
out.
thing. They're out. I'm out. I'm out, guys.
Round glasses are in.
Brown glasses. Is
Yes.
it thick frames or thin ones? I don't think I can get away with thick frames.
Honestly, I would say it's like a mixture, really. Some people have like just like the wired ones, and then other ones, like other people have like
The thick.
thick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. What's the people of opinion? But anyway, let's get back to the stats. You definitely seem very intrigued with that one. Because you usually wear glasses, right?
Yeah, I love glasses. I want another pair.
Okay. Anybody have any recommendations?
I do. I love like, you know.
Anyway, but we'll,
Yeah, that's not the point. Okay.
we'll get to that at the end. We can talk about glasses at the end of this. I think everybody will probably be interested in what prices are doing.
Yeah, not glasses. Okay.
We'll get to that. That's the end of the segment.
Yeah, so prices are down. They are down. Sorry.
They are
I
down
have to recuperate from that.
from the glasses.
Yes, I lost my track. Yeah, well, the sale to list price ratio is down 20% month over month.
20%, but it's up for the year, correct? Year
Yeah,
over year?
it's up 1.32.
Yeah, 1.5%, 1.33% on the increase on the sell to list price ratio, and overall a little bit down month over month. There's not much there to say, but it's bouncing along the around the interest rates. So we're seeing the market is become totally rate sensitive. So basically, and this is something that buyers need to come to grips with, because I do think that, like, it's the waiting game and how long do I wait, and if I do wait, how long is that wait going to be? The interesting thing is that it's so volatile, the market, based on the latest numbers that I see. So rates came up to 8%, prices dropped 3% in a month, last month, and now this month they're up again. I believe it's where were we as far as the sold average list? The sold average listing price was up.
Yes, so it's up both year over year and month over month.
So just a change in, now we're talking about rates came down pretty quickly, and it reflected in the numbers almost instantaneously. Just the next month, the sold average listing price jumped in just month over month 6%, right?
Yeah.
6%.
Yes.
The sold average listing. The medium's 4%. So we wiped out the loss from the prior month when rates got to 8%. So that's how jumpy this market is, and that's why it's like, oh, we're going to wait for the rates to come down. The 4% is pretty. That's wild. It's a wild. I mean, they're up. Sell median is up 14% year over year. So at the same point, on the same month a year prior, they're up 14%. The slowdown is definitely there. So I do think the sold median sale price over the next 2 years is going to flatten out, because there are indications that that's started to happen, meaning that, yes, the month over month, it's bounced back and forth, but there seems to be a stabilization in that number now. I've been watching it for the last few months. It's definitely something that I would pay attention to. Maybe in the next report and see what comes up on the next report. But I do think that at 14, a 14% year-over-year difference, prices are up on the median sale. Month over month is it's just about 5%. So last month, median sold average was down 3.5%, and this month it's up 4.9. So wiped out. So, a total of a 1% gain in price, in home value. So, but I'm going to make this very clear. Do not make this indicative of the entire counties that we're talking about. Ocean County, this includes Ocean County and Monmouth County.
Yes.
And I think what happens when you combine those stats, you can get a little bit more, the data sets that we're using encompass are very geographically, they're not, it's not homogeneous throughout the whole county. So like what's happening in the north part of the county, of maybe Monmouth County to the south part of Monmouth County to the north part of Ocean County and the south part of Ocean County, we could be talking about two completely sets of numbers here. And it's very important to understand that these may not reflect. So they may not reflect the broader picture for the county. So I want to make that clear. You should not, if you're on the northern side, definitely it may be picking these numbers up. Where if you're on the southern side of the county, it's not going to pick those numbers up as much. But that's something that there's just no inventory. I think that's really, as soon as those rates come down just a smidgen. So we're talking about, they're down almost 1.25%. So I think they dropped as low as 6.7 from 8 within this span that we're talking about within the month of January. So we were at about 8% rates, and it showed up in the numbers in December, and now it's reversed course. And it seems to be purely interest rate driven, month to month. So I would really pay attention to that. I think that's a big number. 5% month over month is just, that's how far rates came down to make people come off the fence. And they're back up a little bit now, but not to where they were. I think it's close to 7 or at 7. But once it got under that 7, 6 point, it was like at 6.5. I think the rates, people were being quoted rates 6.5, some 6.3. It just picked up the market completely here.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that is notable.
Yes.
Let's look at those leading indicators. I don't know what the leading indicators are, but you have some of them. You could go by your sheet.
My sheet
by the
has
script.
so many.
Go by the script.
The
We don't want you to deviate, because I certainly have to be kept on track.
Yes. So the leading indicators, pending listings. Pending listings are actually down year over year. 5.84%.
Yeah. So basically 6%.
Yeah, basically.
So, and that coincides with new listings coming down 1. Active listings are down 14% though in the same year-over-year period.
Yeah.
So what's happening is the constraints are real. The constraint is real. What it's really basically saying here, pending listings are down, and probably for the most part based on this report, is that it's just, we have 14% less homes on the market than there were a year ago, which is, that's significant. That's really significant.
Yeah.
14% again. A month over month difference is down 8%, which is another wild 8%, almost 9% less in terms of active listings month over month, which is strange for January. For February, excuse me.
No, January. Yes.
Strange for January. February will pick up a bit. We'll see how that plays out, because I think when people want to list, they're going to put their houses up, and they're going to be like, this is the time to do it. So it's interesting. It's just very unusual to see it. But if you are planning to go on the market. Now, and this is why I think people need to pay attention to this, is that when you go on the market here, all the people that you were talking the numbers about had their house on the market at the right time. Meaning that, so people who kind of got a bump down in the last report, so if their house was like kind of like in that first month that we talked about last month when median sale price was down, now it seems to reverse course. But we're going to look at the leading indicator here, which is the pendings,
Yes.
is down still. So, I mean, it's not the most healthy situation in the world as far as like upsides here. So I don't want anybody to be misguided about like this return of the six like I said 6.5% increase in the average sold. Median sold is probably a better indicator, about 4% month over month, 5%, excuse me, 5% month over month.
Yeah.
And then pending's down. It's like this. The market's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get a footing because, I mean, traditionally in a market like this, okay, if you were talking about inventory constraints, you'd see, with prices obviously being what they are, this is the first time in history this has ever happened. So, and I've been doing these numbers a long time, so I think it's very important for people to understand. This is like, I think I've been doing these for 13 years. These don't have a whole bunch of sense. Like, it wouldn't be typical of a market like this any other time. And I think that's the part that's a little bit like anxiety provoking for some people. It's like, well, what does this really mean? Because it doesn't have a historical precedence. Usually when you analyze data, you like to refer to historical data that says, well, this is what's happened in the past, and we can base our projection on like what's happened on the past. Thankfully, there's new technology that happens to analyze data faster. We may have to be a little bit more precise, but what the market is really saying here is that it's extremely volatile to the point where there aren't many people who could afford a house. That's number one, who are willing to trade up. And two is that it's completely interest rate driven. So I think those two key factors are definitely, it's unusual. But I couldn't say it's not expected. This happened last year. There was a dip. The only difference that makes no sense to me at all is how the pendings are down with the prices increasing like this. So pendings are down, prices increased.
Why do you think that is? Like, what's your intake on that?
You know something? I don't know if sometimes I read these stats and I'm reading hieroglyphics. Like if you know what hieroglyphics are, is what you find in the pyramids in Egypt. It's like, okay, how does this make sense? It's why do I think so? I mean, what's my thoughts on it. My thoughts that it's a science. I mean, to figure out why that would be. I mean, the numbers are real, and you'd see it would look like based on these numbers, right? If you were to say what traditionally would happen, if you saw a jump up in these numbers the way we're looking at them now, where you see pending listings and you saw a jump of 5%, usually that would be indicative of pending listings going up, and that's where it's so broke. It doesn't make sense in that.
No.
It's like.
Do you think?
But I mean, month over month, so pending listings are down year over year, but month over month they were up 17%.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's so okay.
Do you think there's like a more competitive environment, like with quicker sales for the decrease in pending listings?
Well, I think right, month over month, I mean, 17% is way up there. So we did achieve month over month. Year over year is down. Pending listings is down 5.8, which is, like I said, a leading indicator. This is just laying out basically sold listings are down 16% month over month. So that's a trailing indicator. Sold listings that we have month over month are a trailing indicator here, and pending listings are up 17. So this is completely interest rate driven. So you could see this is actually now starting to get a little grip of what we're seeing here.
It's more interest rate.
Yeah, this is totally, and it's so interest rate driven. So as soon as those rates, and basically I think the benchmark here seems to be about 6.7. So once the interest rates go below 6.7, you could expect that numbers would, if you're going to be looking at the house going on the market, this is where it's not going to be predictable, folks. And then this is why if you're going to do this, you could see an uptick very quickly. So you maybe, we got to be very cautious about certain things. And this is one thing about, if you're going on to the market, what you really need to pay attention to here, because this is where it gets dicey, okay? For buyers and sellers, because of the market volatility based on interest rates, okay? So a lot of times you have people who negotiate many things in the process of completing the sale of a house. So what's going to happen is they're going to basically say, let's negotiate some items on the inspection report, but here's what's going to happen. Like, they're going to try to negotiate price down, but you might not be negotiating interest. You may be negotiating interest up. And when you think about cost basis of what you're actually doing, so it's very important that, you start figuring that you get into maybe lock into like a 6.5. Let's say the mortgage rate dropped to 6.5 again. There's going to be two things. You're going to come up. This report's basically saying you're going to come up against a lot more people who are willing to buy in that time frame, and your ability to negotiate because you really have to have a housing contract before you could lock in a rate. For the most part, there may be some products out there that maybe will lock in a rate sooner than that, but you really so you could be negotiating a $5,000 item that's going to cost you $60,000 over the course of the loan. And so you have to be aware of timing being a factor in all these things, because when these things are not completed, or it's not something that, and people they look at the final result and say, oh, the price is, we're getting some money off for these things to fix, but you're really not. Because when it shows up and reflects in the mortgage amounts, you're not, if those mortgage rates creep up 0.25%, 0.5% in the time, and it can, because of the market, that's how volatile. I wouldn't say 0.5%, but a good quarter, maybe a little bit more than 0.25% could be day to day, literally just about day to day. So every day, it could swing in the other direction, it could swing down, but in the environment we're in, I don't see it swinging down. We'll get dips down, we'll get a whole bunch of buyers, and then we'll get dips up, like the most recent mortgage applications dropped last week 10%.
Okay.
Because interest rates peaked. They came back up close to over 7. So mortgage, and you could see that playing out in the market every day. It's unusual, to say the least. I would definitely not take too lightly the fact that things change very quickly, very fast, much faster than any point, I think, since I've been doing this business. You could lose value and gain value of 5 or 6% maybe in a month, which is unheard of. This report would be unheard of in most cases. To see, usually you go by median. A 4% jump a 5% jump in median sales price. And then you could also see it. I don't know if you have that on your thing. If you're going to ask that about the sold median listing price, also went up. So people are willing to buy higher priced houses, and it's completely interest rate driven. And that's, it's because we went to the last report in January, it's 449. December was 448, and that was up to 499. So people are buying houses at 499, and that's the big. And the pending average listing is up to $616,000.
Yeah.
$617,000, right? The pending average listing.
Yes. Yeah, 600. Yeah, basically 17.
Yeah, 617,000. So you could definitely see this playing out in the numbers when it comes to that.
Yes.
So,
That's all up.
yeah.
All of it. Yeah.
What's this old? What's the next question?
The
Okay.
next question.
I think this one's good.
Yeah. The active listings.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a big one.
So active listings have decreased. How is this affecting competition among buyers, and what might it mean for future market trends?
So this is where it gets a little interesting here, because I think some people realize some markets are doing extremely well. What happened? You got stung by a bee?
No.
All of a sudden, it just got dark out.
I know.
It's like the cloud. It was just sunny before, right?
It was definitely sunnier.
It's Anita's fault. You bringing the rain? Huh?
Yes, Sam. Straight from Seattle.
Okay. But so the sold the what you want to do. There's parts of Florida that are actually experiencing some. So if you move into Florida, Florida is not doing as well as New Jersey is still like one of the hottest markets in the country. Still very, very, very competitive. But some parts. So if you are moving to Florida, I would really say to you, this may be the best time to do it, because I think Florida has, especially if you go south. From what I understand, if you go south of the Naples area, you basically Southwest Florida has experienced maybe a 6 or 7% decline in prices. So if you're in New Jersey and you move in there, it can make sense for you to kind of really maximize value very quickly, because that's the type of environment we're in. We're going to see some markets. We're kind of like what I say. The market's in like it's coasting with bumps and valleys. So like you'll have these dips, you'll have some dips, you'll have some growth and values, but it happens very rapidly. But in some markets, like in that South Florida, you maybe you're going to maximize the likelihood, because those have been down almost, I think, a full quarter of declines in values. Some parts of the United States are not doing that great with home prices.
Like what?
I mean, Austin, San Francisco, where they've been horrible.
Really?
They've really experienced. But the funny thing is that pendings in each of these areas have actually gone up, but San Francisco has been decimated. Last month was a good month in San Francisco for pendings. Pendings went up, but new listing inventory is way up. I think month over month, the listing inventory in South Florida is up 30% from a year ago. So some markets are experiencing this really big growth in listings. And also the amount of price drops and the amount, Atlanta, also too, there's been a decline in values, and it's been more than a quarter, not huge, but maybe about 6% drops. Some places like Austin, I think it's 11. San Francisco, I think at one point it was down 8 or 9.
Wow.
And in New Jersey, if you live in New Jersey, you're probably sitting on the best real estate probably in the country right now. I think it's better. We're here in New York. I think it's still valuing better. Like the level of appreciation based on these reports is still on the incline. So it's definitely showing itself to be one of the more robust and resilient markets. And some people say, "How is that possible?" I don't like this state, but it's happening.
I don't like this state.
Yeah, it's like some people, but places like Middletown, Red Bank is still like, it's sizzling hot. It's just these next few months are going to be interesting. Let's see how that plays out, because I do think that the next couple of months are going to be very, very interesting. And you have to be very careful here, because I do think that if you don't plan out your move, you're going to, you could be caught in what I call one of the dips or valleys, and it could make the difference of, in this report is saying basically, there may be as much as a 7% swing from month to month on the price of a house, which is insane. That this month bears that out, because we've done the month to month last month, right? Mm-hmm. We're down 3%. We're up a whole 5% to the next month. So decrease to increase, you're talking about a shift of, someone is literally, that's what, 1.5% over what it was a month ago. So you could basically take a swing. Somebody in that month basically took a hit. Not saying that they value, their appreciation in that time frame gained or lost a certain percentage, but it does say that there could have been more left on the table if the house was in the right environment, interest rate wise. And bears this out. So it's so important, guys, that if you're doing this, you really want to pay attention to how that house hits the market and knowing what the interest rates. Some people are better at predicting this than others. Fortunately, we do predict them pretty well, but where interest rates are likely to head. And I do think that there's a downslope ahead. There's been a jump in interest rates, but I think next quarter is going to be pretty crappy.
Yeah.
I think interest rates will come down. I do think that and everybody's looking at Wall Street and saying, why is Wall Street doing so well? Because Wall Street is figuring there's a tale of two economies.
Yeah.
There's the people who are getting laid off like nuts. It's like every day it's like, I'm reading a thing, it's like someone more layoffs here, more layoffs there. And then you're looking at stock prices. Nvidia today is up 15%. And it's like, in so much of the NASDAQ, so it's just, the stock market's at all-time highs. It's very important to know that the stock market's not indicative of the economy, which it's such an oxymoron, right? I mean, come on. It's so strange. They're like, how could there be all these, like, bad things happening at the street level, and yet the economics on Wall Street seem to be, the party's still going.
Oh, yeah.
The party's still going on Wall Street.
Yes, it is.
Do you own any stocks, Keri? Not yet, right?
I don't own any stocks. I'm not really into that stuff.
That stuff?
That stuff.
You're not really into that stuff. You're gonna get her buying. I think going into this year, there's no doubt about it. The biggest stock to own is chip stocks, and I don't think that's going anywhere. So I'm not giving financial advice. I can't. We won't do that here. We'll get in trouble for that. But you probably could buy a house if you bought one stock. If you bought Nvidia stocks, maybe I don't know, maybe about 8 years ago, and you would have them now. You basically, so let's say you could buy I believe they were like $60 or $50 a piece. They're not like $700. So you'd be in a nice Rolls Royce.
Oh.
You'd be paying for your
Maybe I should get into it.
Yeah, we're gonna get you into Bitcoin, which is also something that's done extremely well. But anyway, any last words?
I mean, how do you think this will play out for the next month?
I think that. Oh God, you give me tough stuff. How I think it's going to play out. I think sellers will come out if they feel more confident in where the prices are heading. I think what's going to set up is obviously one of the first shocks to the system is when interest rates change. Mm-hmm. These are not historically high interest rates, whether people believe it or not. It's not on the historical chart to say, but it is based on cost. So it's a lot to say 6%, 6.5%. My first mortgage was 9%, and that was probably a norm back then, and in 2000. But I definitely think that you're going to have some what I call volatility in the market based on interest rates in the next month. I do think we're seeing interest rates pop up this week. The stock market's doing well. Mm-hmm. Interest rates are on the rise, so there's some inflation fears. So some people are hedging it with 10-year treasuries being the driver. It's very difficult to tell where this takes us. All I know is that the market has shrank. The real estate market overall transactionally has dropped almost 52%, 53%. More than half of the transactional volume of real estate has fallen away.
Wow. That's
so
crazy.
It's not a great thing for real estate agents, that's for sure. But transactional volume. So if anybody is interested in seeing where transactional volume, you can go to thedebtclock.org. Mm-hmm. And you can see in there's a housing section, and it'll tell you year over year the amount of sales. And I believe it was, I think in 2022 it was 6.3 million homes changed hands. Mm-hmm. I think of the last report, it was like 2 million. Last year was like 2,900,000.
Wow, that is crazy.
So it's like a real.
Wow.
But prices are up. That's the strange thing, right? You'd say, oh my God, that's the lowest level volume of home sales in almost 30 years. So longer than you've been alive. Yeah. So that's stark. That's real. That's stark and maybe dark in some instances. I kind of predicted it. I kind of predicted that things would change, but I didn't think it would be changing to the tune of 56%. That's like so half of the real estate business has disappeared for the people who are in it, and that's for some people they're like, oh, that's great. I sometimes I watch people who cheer on the end of the real estate business.
Oh my God, why?
Because they feel like they're overpaid and things like that. I mean, I think that, it's within a right, things are changing so much, so there's a lot of changes all over.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's what we have for this month. If you stay tuned, next month, and then we'll have a live next Friday.
Yes, next Friday.
And we'll see what Keri throws our way.
Yeah.
What are you going to throw at us?
Something fun.
Okay. You're going to throw out, you could talk about your favorite things, like, shoes or something.
Oh, I could go on for hours about that, so.
How's the market for shoes? And what's the best shoe for a real estate person, you think?
The best shoe for real estate? I'd probably say like loafers.
Okay. A specific brand?
I'm biased. My sister works at Steve Madden, so I have a lot
okay,
of
there
Steve
you go.
Madden shoes.
Okay. So what is the price of Steve Madden? Are they gone up? Like houses?
They're definitely, it depends. Some of the shoes, like, I'd be like, I would not pay this much money for a shoe, but thankfully my sister works there, so.
The family and friends discount.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna need one of those soon. I gotta get. Oh, my wife bought me. My wife loves to buy my shoes.
Yeah, that's nice.
She likes.
Though.
Yeah, it is nice.
That is very nice.
But she always finds the bargains.
Yeah, I feel like.
She says, "I never look for. I just buy what I want," and it drives her crazy. And she never lets me shop for myself.
Yeah,
I'm just no, but it's good. It's excellent. I'm not complaining.
No, I
I'm not complaining.
That's what girls do, I feel like.
Yeah,
My
they
mom
buy?
does it for
Oh, yeah?
my dad, yeah.
That's got to be a tradition of some sort. I don't know where this comes from. And I was, please, I used to buy my own stuff all the time. I was very particular. I'm getting less particular. I do. When I go. I still go. I like the outlets in Atlantic City. That's phenomenal.
Those are nice.
Have you been there?
I think I've been there maybe once, if I'm...
Yeah, I think you will.
The Atlantic City outlets.
Yeah. If not, you're going to get a free tour.
A free tour?
Yeah. I'm going to arrange a free tour for an Atlantic City trip.
Okay.
Just for the outlets, because it's something to experience. The Atlantic City outlets. I'm telling you, I don't think there's a better.
Maybe I haven't been there.
I've been around, and it's probably one of the best places.
I don't think I have been there.
No?
No.
It's open. It's an open air kind of setup.
No, I haven't been there.
There you go.
Sorry. Guess I gotta go.
That's it. You and Anita can go.
What are you doing after work, Anita?
They're jumping on the jitney down from Eltonville. But anyway, that's what we have for this week. Tune in a month from now when we're going to have the Staten Island. We always start off with Staten Island, which is our hometown, and then we head off into New Jersey.
Yes.
We have an interesting week in New Jersey. Always have an interesting week in New Jersey these days. But that's it for today.
Yes.
And we'll see you in next week.
Next week,
Just
Friday.
about.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Have a great day, people, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.